Okay, it's my pleasure now to introduce our final plenary speaker for this session. The final plenary speaker is Lip-Bu Tan. Lip-Bu is founder and chairman of Walden International and founding manager partner of Celesta Capital and Walden Catalyst Ventures with over $5 billion under management. He formerly served as CEO and executive chairman of Cadence Design Systems and now serves as an advisor. He currently serves on the board of Schneider Electric, Intel Corporation, and Credo Semiconductor. Lip-Bu focuses on semiconductor components, cloud and edge infrastructure, data management and security, AI and machine learning. Lip-Bu received his BS from Nanyang University in Singapore, his MS in nuclear engineering from MIT, and his MBA from the University of San Francisco. He also received his honorary degree for Doctor of Humane Letters from the University of San Francisco. Lip-Bu currently serves on Carnegie Mellon University's Board of Trustees and the School of Engineering Dean's Council, MIT's School of Engineering Dean's Advisory Council, UC Berkeley's College of Engineering Advisory Board, and their Computing, Data Science, and Society Advisory Board, UCSF's Executive Council. He's also a member of the Global Advisory Board of METI Japan, the Business Council, and Committee 100. He also served on the board of the Global Semiconductor Alliance from 2009 to 2021, and as trustee of Nanyang Technological University in Singapore from 2006 to 2011. Lip-Bu has been named one of the top 10 venture capitalists in China by Zero IPO and was listed as one of the top 50 venture capitalists on Ford's Midas list. He's the recipient of IMEX 2023 Lifetime of Innovation Award, the Semiconductor Industry Association 2022 Robert N. Noyce Award, and the GSA's 2016 Dr. Morris Chang Exemplary Leadership Award. In 2017, he was ranked #1 among the most well-connected executives in the technology industry by the analytics firm Relationship Science. Please welcome Lip-Bu Tan.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, good morning. Hope you can hear me at the back. So a couple of things. One, 40 years ago, my mom sent me the one trip ticket to MIT to study. And, I would just appreciate the country that offer. And I've been really enjoying building company here. And when I went to MIT, I thought that energy problem is a bigger challenge. And so I decided to pursue the nuclear engineering. So I didn't finish my PhD degree, even though I took all the classes. But because of 3 Mile Island accident, they said, well, there's no nuclear power plant built in US. So I kind of said, okay, maybe I just wrap it up, my master's degree, and to move on. And so that's why I moved to California. I fall in love in California, and I've been staying here for a long, long time. And when you didn't finish your PhD, then you have a chip in the shoulder. So I always curiosity and learn, stay humble, and then absorb as much as I can. So a couple of things before I started. And I never been the CEO. So when I was asked to come into Cadence Design as a CEO, and I took a deep breath and I said, okay, let me try it. So 15 years, supposed to be promised for 3 months, turned out to be 15 years running the company. And then I tried to get into the venture business. I knocked on many venture doors, and nobody wanted to take me. So finally, I decided to build my own, called Walden International, with 3.3 million, that I raised from my father-in-law, Singapore government, and that's how I get started. And now we have 5 billion under management, and not to brag about it, and I have about, under my watch, 193 IPO, and 100 trade sales M&A. And so I'm a little bit qualified to be speaking here. And so I think Ananta and then the ISSCC invite me to give a speech. And then one message is, you got to inspire the team here. So I will try my best. So a couple of things. And I want to talk about, the semiconductor innovation and also the entrepreneurship. Kevin started talking about the opportunity to 1 trillion, the market, and also the AI is driving that. I strongly believe that, and I'm going to share a little bit about what I see and what is going to unfold the next decade. And then secondly, I always enjoy building company with entrepreneurs, and then I involve heavily with all the different universities. And I have 35 companies I started with professor and student, and that turned out to be very successful in some of them. So with that, I want to just talk about the semiconductor innovation. And then clearly you can see the compute power performance. And I think Jonah mentioned about all this, the scaling of the 30,000 GPU. And thanks for that. I mean, that's really see the tremendous computing power. And memory, that's another big area. And in fact, there's a lot of connectivity in terms of memory is so critical. And there's a lot of innovation needed in the memory side. And also the internet connectivity, die to all the system scaling, and with the cluster of GPU or CPU. And that is something that's really exciting. And the innovation actually drive a lot of new business model. I think we all enjoy the consumer innovations, internet, commerce, and we don't have to go to the shop to get the video, and you can get it from Netflix and then the streaming. And so there's a lot of exciting. I think this is just a beginning. The AI era going to be even driving even further. Next thing, I think Kevin mentioned about the $1 trillion industry. I strongly believe, and I don't think we have to wait until 2030, maybe faster, because the AI impact going to be so big. And there's 5 generations of drivers, 5G, 6G coming, hyperscale computing, the scaling is tremendous. And then AI machine learning is right in the center of it. And then autonomous driving. And the other part I'm very heavily involved is the industrial IoT. And I will talk about all these 5 areas, how we're going to drive this semiconductor area. And I still remember I talked to a couple of professors at different universities. They all said, wow, Lip-Bu, semiconductor is a sunset industry. You should move on. And even some of my investors, they said, well, all your friends from Kleiner Perkin and Sequoia, they already moved on. And when I talked to the VC guy in the conference room, when I'm talking about semiconductor, half of the team left. And then the other 2 or 3 may be left behind, sympathetic for me to talk about semiconductor for the last 15 years. Finally, right now, everybody is chasing me. Lip-Bu, what is the next semiconductor deal you're going to put together? And we'd love to join you. So I think it's a game-changing. I'm very excited. Hopefully, I can share with you, I'm from a nuclear engineers, and I take my learning class, and then they can turn around the Cadence design. And you can do that, and you can come to the stage here. And then likewise, in the investment side, initially I don't even know how the semiconductor design works, and that's why I jumped into Cadence to learn how to do the design. And then now I can starting to apply to some of the opportunity that can scaling and help getting the better world, and also the industry can benefit from it. And if you look at the technology adoptions, it's faster and faster. And you look at internet, it takes 7 years. You look at Meta right now, 4+ years. And WhatsApp, most of us use a lot of WhatsApp, is 3+ years. Then TikTok, 9 months. And then ChatGPT, 2 months to 100 million users. So that adoption is much, much faster. The pace is much faster. And in fact, in the generative AI investment, things change so fast. And so we just have to adopt the pace of adoption and then try see what is stick, and then you can kind of move on and scale it. And then the AI, to be candid with you, is like 8 years old, nothing new. But the key thing is a couple of things happening. One is the compute power that Jonah just talked about. The scaling is tremendous. Secondly, thanks to Google, Transformer, and really help a lot. And then, then you look at all this application, 3,000 gigabytes per user per day. If you look at the Netflix, many of us using that, and Amazon Prime and YouTube, it's just amazing. The data is explosive in terms of transmission, storage, and processing it. So I think that's a really good opportunity for this whole thing come together. I want to talk about the 3 technology that really apply to make it really exciting. And then some of you are now using the Tesla car. I have 3 Tesla cars. And that is not just a car. And my son told me, Dad, that is not a car. That is basically is a battery. And then it basically is the sustainability in terms of net zero. And my wife always, when I kind of putting the car waiting for something, is that to switch off the engine. So now I don't need to switch off the engine, and it's kind of fun to have that. So I think that sustainability, climate technology is so critical, and for our next generations. The other part is generative AI, and then how does that apply, and then useful to drive the, we talk about EDA, how to drive the performance, the productivity. Then you're talking about the content creation, using the generative AI to do that much faster, much quicker, and then more efficient. And also drive some of the operation efficiency using the generative AI. And then how do you do that much quicker from prototype all the way to the end products in much quicker time. And so those are the things that I will talk a little bit more about that. The other part is the digital biology. And I'm 64 years old, and I'm starting to pay attention to health. And so it's very important, how do you use the AI machine learning, the different model, to drive even more accurate biomarker, and then much faster in the drug discovery. And this is a gold mine, and I will share with you a little bit more on that. And at the end of the day, make a better world, and also drive more economic growth. And so this is something that's very exciting. And then talking about the data center explosions, and energy consumption become the really big issue. And people predict by 2030, almost 20% of the energy will be utilized by the data center. And then many of the cloud players, I'm spending a lot of time with them, how to drive the power down. And that's something that is very dear to everybody's attention, how to be net zero and in this effort. And the other part is, this whole semiconductor design, and clearly, how do you scale that in the heterogeneous, the infrastructure, die-to-die chiplets, and advanced packaging, and then chiplet become a very important 42% CAGR in this whole area of development. The other part, is the EV, electronic vehicles, and then by the end of decade, and electronic will be almost 20% of the BOM value. And then about 200 to 400 sensors around the car. And so it's just exciting to see that automotive become a very important market for the semiconductor industry, and how do we drive efficiency. When I talked to a couple of the CEO of the automotive player, is that, Lippo, we need your help. And then how do we decide what silicon we're going to build internally, how much we're going to use from outside, and who are the best player, and then to partnership with. So something that's very interesting. And when I starting to step down as a Cadence, and I found that a lot of companies are approaching me, said, Lippo, can you help us? And then how do we build the silicon team within? And then how do we drive more automations? So something that's really exciting, it's very interesting for me to learn, and how to help and contribute to them. And one thing I mentioned earlier, the 4.0, the edge AI, and then edge AI become more and more critical. And then I'm on the board of Schneider Electric. We have a lot of controller, we have a lot of sensor, and then you cannot send the data to the cloud and come back. The latency is too long. And then you really need to process and make, very power had to be very efficient. And so that you can on the spot make decision, wide decision, and also you can monitoring the issue much quicker. And to me, this is the next frontier and of the growth potential. and then something just to highlight to you the opportunity in front of us. As you can tell, I've been trying to explain some of the opportunity, and later on I'll talk about some of the challenges we face. And we are all engineers. And engineering, what we really like, the more challenging it is, the more exciting for us to contribute, and then how we can be helpful and how can we be learned. So one area is the purpose-built silicon. And starting from Apple, they bought the PA Semiconductor, a couple of my founders' friends building that PA Semiconductor. And then that become very important for Apple to able to drive the performance, the usage on the time that they want to drive that. And then just give you a little bit inspirations. And almost 10 years ago, I backed a team in Israel called Entrepreneurship Lab. Some of you may have heard of that. And so finally, I think the top management of Amazon said, "Lip-Bu, we cannot leave it outside. Just name the price. I want to bring it inside the company." And I was just learned that 1 year ago, they become the top 10 customer of TSMC. So that is a good inspiration from startup, 4 guy, and now become top 10 customer of TSMC. So that's something that is an inspiration for me to continue to build. And then purpose-built, it become a very big trend right now. You name every hyperscale guy and all the key automotive player, they all try to move their purpose-built silicon. General purpose silicon, there's a different timetable. And then the other part is not really optimized for the product, the performance that you want to drive. So there's a purpose-built silicon become very, very important class. Then we talk about this, every startup company, I always asking how many ratio in terms of software team and the hardware team. My philosophy, I always like to see 50-50%. As software become very, very important. And in the past software 1.0, you build the hardware, then you try to figure out the software to make it work. And now I think there's a new change to 2.0, software 2.0. And so in the way using AI machine learning, you have that, using the data that you have, and how do you drive different model, and then fit you back in terms of no code, low code, to really drive the design, what kind of hardware you really need to really optimize for your solution. That is a game changing. And so instead of working from the right to the left, now it's from the left, build a model with the AI, and then automatically design the system and optimize the design, the hardware. And that's why, a lot of company, I'm helping them to change that from hardware design purpose, and now move to software, and then drive using AI machine learning and model to drive that. There's a big change. The other part is, the whole design, the chip design, the system design. I always look for 10x. Being a venture capitalist, you always were looking for what is a 10x factor. And then if just 2 or 3x, you're going to have to do a startup. And incumbent will basically able to catch up and very quickly. So you need to have 10x, and then so that you have the performance, scaling, and in some way, when I was a Cadence design, the 15 years, I try to help, from customer point of view, from transistor to cell to higher abstraction to drive the performance, and using AI-driven system design that you can see the 10x performance improvement. Just do a little bit deeper. This is 15 years I've been focused on Cadence. 2 things that I focus on Cadence. One, of course, is culture change. And I don't believe in silo, and I don't believe in we have to work as one team. I used to be a basketball college team, so I always believe a team is very important. And so how do you work and then become an extended team to the customer? And then understanding their pinpoint, and then how to solve that. So in the way, 2 things that I'm very focused on, you got to be a crowd base. And it's very important to move your tool into the crowd. And then the other part is also kind of move into the cloud native on your tool to help the customer, and then so they're much quicker to scale. And then secondly, is also each of the product group, I usually do deep dive every 3 months. And to be candid with you, that's one way I learn the business. I learn their products by asking enough questions, and then they're starting to teach me, and so that I can be more effective with my customer. And so across all the different product lines, I said that AI, got to use AI to drive the efficiency and drive the performance with customer. And then how to drive the PPA, the power, the area in terms of scaling. And then almost across all the tools, from the digital flow, we have the syllabus using AI machine to drive the performance, and analog, and then the verification, hardware emulation, and all the way to packaging. We see tremendous improvement for our tool solution. And then also we kind of work with the customer because all customers have different methodology design, and then how to tune our software to work and optimize for them. So it truly become not just a customer and vendor relationship, it become more a partners relationship. So we work with customer in a partners arrangement. And one of the most difficult customer I have, and I in fact asked him to rank my products. I said, I'm the first-time CEO. Yeah, I need to know how bad is my products. So he said, Lip-Bu, you asked for it. We're going to give you very honest feedback. So he asked all his manager to grade my products. And after 3 weeks, he said, Lip-Bu, come back to the office. I said, sure, I come over. And I was standing there. He said, I think you should sit down. I said, okay, I sit down. And the next thing he said, well, this is your scorecard. And I have a lot of E and F, and 1 D and 1 B. And he saw that I'm very stunned. He said, Lip-Bu, none of the vendor will even dare to ask for that question. But you are so nice and so humble, and we're going to give you the honors since you asked for it, give you the result. And he saw that I'm quite stunned. And I said, well, for my academic career, I don't have anything below B. And this is humiliating for me. And that's my journey for 15 years with him. And then at the end of the 15 years, I got 1 A, many B, and 1 C. And so it's a big improvement. So long story short, in our industry, sometimes you need to be humble and willing to learn, and then you can improve and get a customer to help you. And some cases, because you need their test chip, and I call it the secret sauce of tests. And then basically they share with you, then you can improve, and over time. And I also ask my team, it's very important, get the most difficult customer, and that's where you learn. Just like we play basketball, if you can play one-to-one with LeBron James, and after 5 years, I think you've got to improve. And if not, I think he's not going to play with you. So one thing that I'm very excited is this whole biosystem pharmaceutical. And just for similar terminology, I call it the reverse Morse law. So the pharmaceutical company pour a lot of money into the R&D, and then the number of FDA-approved drugs is getting fewer and fewer. And that's something that caught my attention. I said, boy, this is a golden opportunity. And then how to use AI, machine learning, generate AI, and then with the massive patient data, and how can we drive a more accurate biomarker and also faster and more accurate drug discovery. So this is a new phenomena that's happening, and this is very exciting, and see a lot of great success company come up from here. And I mentioned earlier, you need a full stack. And then you really need to build all the different stack, the layer. And then for any fabless semiconductor company, I always say that, well, what is your software strategy? How do you drive that? And do you have the talent? Do you need to recruit the right people so that you make sure that you meet all the different stack of the software stack? And then you provide a solution that customer can use. So vertically integrated solutions. And then retiring from Cadence, a lot of big public company, they're asking me, Lip-Bu, this generative AI is so important, we don't want to miss out. And then how can you help us to find the way to solve that? So I kind of list out some of these people that are asking me, Lip-Bu, what are the areas that we can use generative AI for our business? One, I think it can get you a lot of more data analysis and then more insight to your business. Secondly, you can really drive much better customer interface and experience, and then drive efficiency, operation efficiency. And then just give you one example. I just backed a company doing the co-pilot for the CFO and CEO. And then you're able to find out how many applications you subscribe to it, and you have visibility, how many employees actually using it. And then so that you can really negotiate the next 3 years license, and then based on your requirement. And then the other part is cyber security. And I talked to one of the big credit card security, and how do we use generative AI to drive fraud detection and then cyber security prevention. There's one big area is that deep fake defect detection. And that's something that I'm very passionate about. People are using your data and then and back for their usage and abuse that. And how do you protect that? And from the credit card, from the security, and then to do that. And so I think all in all, I think there's a new business model, and also help on the efficiency of the software development, application development. So that I think is a golden opportunity to help some of the enterprises. And besides just B2B, like generative AI, now I'm very focused on B2B. How do you provide the enterprise AI great solutions for the company? So I list down a few industry challenges that we are facing, and then how do we address that? One is the sub-Armstrong, and when you move down the geometry, and then how do you continue to drive innovation? And Moore's law is slowing down, and like Ram described, some of this are slowing down, and how do we drive that? And also look at some of the new material. I'm starting to spend a lot of time with material science professor. How do you drive the next chemistry, the table, GAN, Indian phosphide, and just continue going on. Then the other part is advanced packaging. Just like Kevin mentioned about the packaging, it becomes very much a bottleneck. After Cold War 3D, what is next? And what material you need to use. So I'm starting to look at glass, I look at diamond, and then how to make that heat dissipation. I'm starting to invest in those areas. Kind of fascinating for me to learn. The other part is the data scaling, and how do you use optical to drive efficiency. The edge, I talk about the low power efficiency to drive better this result. The data center power, we need some new energy efficient architecture to drive some of these changes. And so I think those are all big issues that we need talents to do that. And then also the integration, heterogeneous integration. I mentioned earlier the chiplets, and then Infinity and like Mellanox that I back earlier days, and then and also right now the CX, this high speed, SerDes, and also some of this PCIe Gen 5, Gen 6 continue the scaling. And then the other part is the software 2.0, how to scale the design for the system. So I think all these are big areas. We need more talent, young generation to help us to continue to innovate. And that's something that I'm very passionate about. Just to share with you, since '84, I have been 40 years in the venture capital investment, and I watched almost 600 companies started. And just to share with you some of this area, the storage, we need more new memory, new storage, and the software. And then the other part is, how do you drive robotics and using AI machine learning to drive more efficient for the industrial application, and also for area that you don't send people down and to collect the monitoring the data. And then the other part is the scaling of the switches, and then the storage and the network, And then the other part is, I call it the XPU. And it's not just CPU, not just GPU. And there's the data analytics U and process U. And so that's another suite of company I back multiple times. And then the other part is a new material. And how do you starting to create some new material to do that? And then also the interconnect from Mellanox to Cradle, and now the Astera Lab, and many more. And then also the other part is the edge AI. So just to share with you how much opportunity for the EE engineers, there's so much opportunity to work on it. And then quantum computing and photonics is just around the corner. And then we should really investing not just on the hardware, and also the software for quantum computing. And so I think this is just to give you a flavor of what can be done. The other part I mentioned about software 2.0, and then how do you drive the different workflow, and using Apache Spark, Apache Arrow to drive that. And then the other part is the security layer we just talked about. And then the other part is the process mining, so that you can help intelligent for the CEO, CFO to drive decisions. And the other part is the data. And unless you have a very accurate data labeling, and otherwise it's garbage in, garbage out. And the other part is the data observability platform, so that you can monitoring, find the bad data, you can throw it out, make sure that you have real good data to process. So something that is very important. The other part I'm very passionate is called the MLIR, and then basically it's the advanced compiler. And so I back almost 5 different teams to build that, and so different application. And so I think all in all, there's so much to do. And the other part is, cloud is not the only solutions. How do you make it automations and also optimize? And you can learn, and when you use a hyperscale guy, you thought it's cost effective. Actually, later on become very cost expensive. And then how do you drive using the different methods to drive the usage more efficiently? So that's another big area of opportunity. Then generative AI, there's so much opportunity here. And then one thing that I really like is focus on application and solutions. Like for example, the large language model, and you want to work on that. And then the other part is how do you drive open source on the cloud, open model, and then so that you can help the customer faster, like Together.ai. I think they've done a fabulous job, and I like that a lot. And also, I think one of them, I don't want to mention, I think end of the year they're going to announce, they will have over 1 trillion parameter models, and we're going to announce, and customers are using it. And it takes some time to build. And so I back the team able to do that. So again, and then the other part is education. And my son decided to want to be in the education using generative AI, and then helping the university to really drive, we call it the virtual TA and virtual platform to help the student to learn faster. And then so something that is fascinating to me, my son decided he wanted to do startup. I said, why education? And he said, Lippu, Papa, this one is a gold mine, and I want to double down on it. And I said, okay, go for it. The other part I want to highlight is the drug discovery. I just want to highlight 2 that I'm very passionate. And one is basically, we're all at the age, you're going to see whether you have prostate cancer. And then today, the 4K test is only 35% accurate. And then we find a way using AI machine learning with that biopsy, the result, and we can drive 92% accurate. And then this company, in less than 1 year and 3 months, get national guidance approval. And then less than 2 years, we become the standard test that the medical care had to use. And this is just a gold mine, and help a lot of patients, and help the doctor how to diagnose and how much treatment that you need to get, and then without affecting the quality of life. The other one I'm very excited, a very good friend of mine, and he decided to use the brain wave to help the Parkinson patient, 82% accurate, rather than Steve Hodgkin using the the stick to hit the keyboard to communicate take long time and very frustrating. Here, 82% accurate using brainwave and with a lot of electronics. So I kind of told him that, look, the electronic you use is so outdated. We got to have some better one, a new one to do it. And that's how I got myself into become an investor and be helpful. And so is that we're not stopping at the Parkinson patient here. Now we can help depression, we can help Alzheimer. And I said, boy, this is much better to a lot of make the quality of life to go forward. I come to the end of my presentation. One is that we really need to continue to invest in groundbreaking research that open door for new market and application. And that's something that's very important. I just look at around the audience. There's a lot of young the audience. And I hope I inspire you to do something here and then get more research and then be entrepreneur and build something groundbreaking. The other part is investing in as I mentioned earlier, next generation of engineers. And I look at when I was running Cadence, the average age is 56 years old. And I said, well, that's not good news. We got to bring that average down to 35. And so again, we just need more talent. And when I talked to the professor, I said, wow, Lip-Bu, this is a sunset industry. And I said, we got to change that. We had to tell the professor, this is a sunrise, the industry, that we need all the brightest, engineers, rather than joining Google or Meta, is to come and join some semiconductor company to do some innovation. Finally, I think it's very important, it's collaboration between the private sector and the public sector. I was so happy to see chip program starting to deploy the money. And I'm so excited about the NSTC. They're going to blow out a lot of new investment for innovation. So I think we all have to work together to have a better future. With that, hopefully I did my job in terms of inspire you. Don't give up on semiconductor. This is something that's very exciting. And I really personally really benefit. And many of my closest friends are from this industry. And I'm delighted to be in this industry. Thank you.